on chapter 3, and then when we come back from our 3-day weekend, we're going to start chapter 4.
You don't have school on Monday. You
don't?
You do. I did not know that.
Okay, so we're going to do 3-4. And your learning objectives are you're going to solve 2 variable inequalities. And these are going to include basic ones, compound ones, and absolute value. And then you're also going to graph them. Okay, so just a random example. This right here would be the inequality, okay, with 2 variables going on, and you have your inequality symbol. Now, the reason that you have to graph their solutions, if you kind of remember, you would do something, I don't know, depending on what it becomes, but it'd be something like this, right? Do you remember why you have to shade and why you have to graph? Because how many solutions are there? So many. There are infinitely many. Infinite. Oh God, I can't spell today. Finite. Infinitely many. I should have told you that. Okay, there are infinitely many. I can spell it. I-N-F-I-N-I. I knew I was spelling wrong. I-T. Infinitely. Okay.
It's hard when you're up there and trying to remember.
Gosh, it freeze. Solution. Sorry. Okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do, just to kind of take you through 3 steps on these, is you want to get them into slope-intercept form. Okay? So you want the y over here. Y always is going to need to be on the left for how I'm going to teach you. So get the y on the left. And then instead of the equals, what kinds of signs can you have? Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. Okay, so then once you get it into this form, you're going to graph just like it was an equal sign. Except for it may be solid or it may be dashed. Okay, so a solid line is when you're going to have what's going on instead of the equals. Greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So when you go to your shading and whatever, you're going to have a solid line. Why will you have a solid line? What's they? You said they can be.
Because there's a line underneath it, that's fine.
Okay, but what does it mean?
It means that they
The line is included in the what? Yeah, so all of these guys all over the place are solutions, but every point on this line is also a solution. Okay? So the reason that you have a solid line is because the line values are solutions. Okay? And when's it going to be dashed? When you have what kind of signs? Greater than or less than. And you're going to have some kind of dashed line when you go do it. And why are you going to have it dashed? These are solutions in the shading, right? Is this going to be a solution on the line now? No. Okay? So the line values are not solutions. So then the last thing we do is the shading. And again, y must be on the left. So if you always get it to look like that, you're good to go. Okay? So you're going to shade above for what two signs? Greater than or equal to and greater than. And you're going to shade below for less than or equal to. Now, in your book, if you read your book, which I'm sure all of you do, right? They do a test point, and you may have had a teacher who also does a test point. That is fine. I think it's a little bit more work, but it's fine either way. It's correct, okay? Just the way I'm going to teach you is by the symbol. So I always think if I am greater than, I am above you, and if I am less than, I'm below you. So that's how you're written up. I think we're all equal. All right. So let's do one. First thing, get y on the left, get it in that slope-intercept form. And don't forget, when you multiply or divide by a negative, what happens? Sign flips. So do that first.
You are.
All right, so let's see how you did if you could solve for y. Anybody not get that? You have a question. So that's step number 1 done. Step number 2, solid or dashed line?
Dashed.
Dashed. Why? Because you have a greater than sign, right? So it's going to be dashed. Step number 3, we're going to shade above or below. We're going to shade above. Why? Because you have a greater than sign. Okay, and when you're greater, you're above. So you need to have those 3 things in mind as we go make the graph.
Why sometimes you put 5 and only put 4?
I don't know.
I'm so confused.
Does it matter?
Maybe you have to have 6.
Half.
Oh yeah, because you're going to do the whole.
All right.
I'm going to go by 3s.
Okay. So I'm going to start at -3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go either down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. Or I could have went up 3, back 2. And we said it's going to be a dashed line, so you can get your ID out. You can put it on your paper, so you get this nice, pretty line, right? And dash, 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 dash. Hopefully yours looks prettier than mine. You have a little bit of a curve on, but using your ID can help a lot. Edge of a paper, edge of a calculator will work. And then we said we're going to shade above. So then my final answer now, I'm going to get out my highlighter. And I'm going to highlight my final solution set. In this case, there's just one thing going on. So my final solution, whoops, kind of went over a little bit, is this. Okay?
Why did you include the line?
Well, I'm showing it's still dashed. So the line's not included, but I'm going up to the line. So the line is not included. It's everything from the
Do you
line.
still want us to shade in
Above.
above it? Or is that just with the highlight?
So you're going to shade in above it. Kind of fun color, right? Okay. Oh my gosh. You are crazy. Alright. So that's the basic. Try this one with your group and make sure you just have a basic one of them down. You don't have any other questions that you want to ask. So do this one with your group.
So when we would divide by fraction, we do the opposite.
First thing I would do is get rid of the fraction.
That would be simple, multiply by
I will write what you should get when you solve for y to make sure you're not way off. If you didn't get that, then you need to adjust yourself before you keep going. Keep going. If you need help getting there, let me know.
You get 20 minus 4y greater than 5.
Yeah, and then you gotta solve that. That's 2 times time is 4.
Oh, it's a negative power.
Don't forget to put the time. I feel like it was almost easier just to scribble. You didn't highlight the line though.
True or false, Mallory? True or false? 0, 5 is a solution. No, because it is on the line and the line is that. Shannon, true or false? 0, 10 is a solution. False. Why?
It's above the line.
Yeah, it's not in the shading. True or false, Andre? 2, 0 is a solution.
True.
True, because it's in the shading, right? True or false, Hunter? There are an infinite amount of solutions. Infinite amount of solutions. Is that a solution? That. Well, they're not included, but there's still an infinite amount throughout. Infinity plus infinity is still infinity. Dad, Brooke, what's infinity times infinity? Okay, now we're gonna get a little bit more advanced. You ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now you have 2. So take both of them, solve for y. You can do that without me.
Take both of them, solve for y.
Yep. So get that one solved for y, and take this one and solve for y.
So is it just the parts in between those two lines then that you're shading?
I know.
So those greater ones would just be above. Oh yeah, and if those greater ones, you shade all of it above both of them. But if it's greater than all one.
Can we go back to the order means all of it?
And if it's in between, so you just shade the ones in between.
Okay, so this first one right here, solid or dash, Taylor? Solid, shade above or below. Good. And do the next one for me since Colston wanted to help you. Solid or dash? Shade above or below. Good. So let's go plot those on the same number line. And again, no highlighter until the final answer. Don't get it out yet. Negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 3. We said it was solid, and I shade above. Then I'm going to start the other one at 2. I go down 2 over 1. And we set it as solid, and I'm going to shade above. Anybody not there yet? Raise your hand if you want more time to get to there. Pretty good.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. You highlight everything.
Okay. Now we gotta think back, Haley. We gotta think back to our chapters 1 and 2. And we know that when we see the word and or, what do we think? And means what? Huh? In common. It's the intersection. It's only what they have in common. Or, though, means all of it, everything. And that symbol is the
Melting pot.
melting pot, the union. Okay, so they told us that we have an or. So when I go do my final solution, an or means I want everything I can get. So everything I could get
Everything except for the bottom 3.
would be everything that we had shaded.
It looks like a fire.
And that would be my final solution. What do you think? Okay. If it had said an and, where it would be the only place I shaded? Yeah, just that top little part. Okay? Just a couple more. You can go with this, or you can go with that.
So why is it saying why sugar? We gotta shade it. Oh, this one.
Man, you think it's Friday or something as chatty as you guys are. It's not Friday for a block, is it? No, not at all. I can't even
No,
tell.
this one, you gotta shade above, shade above this one.
I know! Crazy!
Everything.
Okay, I'll come smell it. Garrett, I'm ready to ask you a question now. Are you ready to answer? Okay. I'm gonna let you feed. You've thought you're gonna get this. This one's tough. This is a tough one. Okay? Right here. Oh, that was weird. Did you see that? Okay. Right here, going on, when it's all compounded together, if I want to pull it apart into two separate things, what word goes in the middle?
So if you want to pull a part of the week, or you only put one word.
So if they're all together, Kaylee really had this, I felt like, too. Garrett, what are you thinking? What word are you going to think when you pull them apart? Let's just say it. Okay. How would you graph that? Let's think about that. If I was to like just sketch that part, kind of like, what if I just said 8, okay? Or a -8. Think back to what we were doing before we got to variables. It'd be like that, right? Okay. And do you think that's an and or an or? It's an and. So when it's all compounded together, the only thing that you can put all together is an and. You cannot put ors all together. You cannot compound the ors. You can only compound the ands. So when you see this all together, you need to think and. So as I go pull this apart, I'm going to write the first one. And then I'm going to write the word and. Then I can write the next one. And then I can continue with what it says. How many do you get to put on one graph? 3. All right, go for it. And means you're looking for where they have in common.
So how would you do the X is greater than or equal to Y?
Well, I need to solve for Y. Y is greater than or equal to X. Anything I need to do to this?
No.
What kind of line is this?
Perpendicular or straight up down.
No, it's on it.
Oh, no.
Point, right?
Like, yeah.
Horizontal. Oops. And what kind of line is this?
Vertical.
This is vertical, right? Okay, let's answer the questions. This is my first. What's my next steps? Determine if it is. And this one is?
Whole.
Solid, whole. Okay, and shade above.
Dash below. Full.
Dashed and below. And Ricky Bobby?
Solid and above.
Okay. You guys doing this? So this would be like 1 over 1x plus 0. Does that help? You don't have to have the plus 0, and you don't have to have the 1 showing for the slope. Actually, I don't have that much to spread out. I'm going to make these big. I'm just going to go by 2s. Y-intercept of 0. Slope of 1, 1. Solid. I always just want to do that. Shade above. Questions about that one?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next one, horizontal line going through 2. It is dashed and I shade below.
Yeah, how are we supposed to draw the last one?
It's like in a way.
Okay. So let's see. X equals 0 is just what? It's straight up and down. It's just the what axis though? The y-axis, and we said this one was solid. And we're going to shade above. Ooh, why do we have a left and a right? Which way do you think is above? Which ones are bigger?
To the right.
To the right.
So you shade it.
So when I go do my shading now, looking where they all three overlap. All three of them only overlap
That little right angle right there.
right there.
Right triangle. Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. We have one more we're going to do together, unless you have questions over this first.
One more, we can do our homework.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Ooh. I know, get some of it done. Enjoy this 3-day weekend, right? Okay. So, any more about that one? Andre, is your table good?
Yeah, we gotta go triangle, right? Oh, there's another.
Hunter, is your table good? Shannon, is your table good? Jake, is your table good? All right. Let's see what you remember. How do we write this? Who has this? Who's got this? Who's like, I know how to start this. I got this. Come on, Mr. Ostricki. Jordan. Okay, Jordan's going. Hold on, let's see if she gets it. Is what? Yay! Woohoo! Good job, Jordan. How did you know it was an and? It's less, right? Less than, less and, right? If it was great or, we'd have nor. We've got the absolute value isolated. I can look at the sign and say less and. That's how I know I read the and. And then I always switch the sign and make the right part negative. Finish from there. You can check with me.
See here, so.
Good job, Jordan.
Solve the lines.
There we tell Jordan good job.
What you guys get?
If it was an or.
Run.
Yeah, in the middle. Oh, yeah. This or you can go. So your final answer? Okay, good. Yes.
So it's in between. Where'd you go? Yeah, right that.
This one.
Yeah, what's brighter and what's lighter. Everything else. Mr. Rhodes,
Yeah.
I don't feel very good. Can I get the rest of you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, so it's the wrong way. Dang it.
You sit on
If you've got that, you can start on your homework. The what? Oops, didn't want to do that.
So, oh no. Mr. Rose,
Hmm.
if I can